and welcome to my channel. My name is Ashley, and if you're new here, welcome. So for today's video, I wanted to do what not to do as a substitute teacher. I actually have a couple of them written down in my planner. So a lot of these tips you might already know, but some of these you might not. So I thought today we would just kind of sit down and have a little chit chat of what to do, what not to do. I know being a substitute is a very stressful job. A lot of students think that you don't have power, but you really truly do have a lot of power. Just know that you are appreciated. You are very, very much needed. So today I wanted to kind of talk about some tips. So let's get right into this video. So for number one, do not use your phone in class because students will tell. Students like to talk a lot and they will tell if you are on your phone, whether that's just for a minute just to check something real quick, or you're on it throughout the whole class. Kids have big mouths. They will be more likely to tell. Just don't want to get in trouble. Or like for my district where I work at, you can actually get removed from the system. The system is pretty much a machine that calls you and offers you job offers, and then you can either accept or deny them. And if you get removed, then you pretty much won't be able to get any jobs. So do not use your phone in class. Do not cuss, because kids tend to repeat, especially the little ones. They will just repeat what you say. So number two is do not give kids food, because you do not know what they could be allergic to, whether if they're taking certain medication and they're not allowed to eat certain foods. Aside from that, they can also choke on the food. Also, some teachers will actually allow their students to have snacks during reading time or during homework time or some type of time throughout the day. Some teachers, not a lot of them, but some of them do have like snack time. I have had classes where they have snack time. The teacher writes it down saying, let students have snacks. I really don't like doing that because I am always afraid that somebody is going to start choking. I don't know how to save anyone if they're choking. I really truly don't know what to do. And so I just don't want to be in that scenario. So I just say no. And if they start arguing, miss, but our teacher lets us, you just respond with, your teacher's not here today. I'm your teacher. My rules are no snacks. Another rule is to do not give kids money. And now this one is one that I had to learn, not myself, but I actually learned by seeing another coworker go through this, because I used to work at the local Parks and Recreation for the city where I live in, and they have summer programs where a lot of students go during the summer. I actually saw one person where a lot of these students would ask for money, and that person gave them money the first time, and since then, whole summer, the kids kept going up to him, being like, can I have money? Can I have money? Can I have money? And it was just an ongoing, never-ending thing. So don't give them money, especially if your district's small. For example, my district, my hometown district, has 4 high schools. So the chances of you going to one of those high schools is very high. So don't give money, because you will regret it and they will never stop bothering you. Okay, so another tip is to not leave a cluttered desk. Regardless if you have a horrible day, the students were horrible, the class was just crazy, do not leave a cluttered desk, because that shows what kind of substitute teacher you are. I like to always leave at the end of every single time I sub, I like to leave a paper with exactly everything that they finish. So if the teacher leaves me kind of like an agenda, I then write down like, the students were able to complete this assignment, we had trouble with this assignment, X students, and X student did not finish this assignment. I make sure to give her or him a good rundown of what happened throughout that day, so that way when she comes, she knows who finished what, where they're at, and pretty much what they did that day, so she could get a good understanding of what's going on, what to do. Also, cluttered desk, it's not nice. I actually subbed not too long ago for this one teacher. She was missing for about, I would have to say, a week or 3 days. I'm not too sure what was the timeline, but she had actually had another substitute sub before me. So I think I was subbing on a Tuesday. She had another sub on Monday. So another sub on Monday, me on Tuesday. Well, when I got there on Tuesday, The sub from Monday left the desk a disaster. It was a complete disaster. There was papers everywhere. There was at least, I kid you not, like 12 assignments, and they were just all mixed up. All of them. I had to spend a whole 30 minutes, I kid you not, separating the papers, going through them, seeing who's done, who's not done. And I know it's not something that should be my responsibility, but the fact is that, let's say the teacher were to come back on Wednesday and I leave it like that, that's gonna kind of resemble me. Not so much Monday's substitute teacher, but me, because of the fact that I was there last. Do you get me? So do not leave a cluttered desk. Try to leave everything organized. If she has little post-it notes, write on the post-it notes, this is the assignment, they're done. Maybe put a little paper clip on it. Have everything kind of just organized and easier for her or him. Okay, so then that's that. Okay, next tip, do not leave your classroom unattended. Regardless if you have to go to the restroom and you're only gonna be 2 minutes and the restroom's down the hall, do not do it. You don't want for a kid to get out. You don't want for there to be an emergency. You know, there's a fire alarm. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. So if you're going to go to the restroom, I highly recommend getting there early the day that you sub, going next door to the teacher and just talking to them and saying like, hello, my name is blah 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 blah, I'm going to be subbing for the next door teacher. You know, just kind of just talk to her. She'll know, like, you know, if I need to go to the restroom, like, is it okay if, you know, I ask you? Most of the time the teachers are super duper friendly, and so just make sure to not leave your room unattended. Okay, and the next one is do not sit down and expect students to do their own work. Especially, this has a lot to do with elementary schools. I haven't subbed for high school nor elementary schools yet because of my age. My district has kind of like an age limit. I think I have to be like 24 in order to sub for high school and middle school. Do not just sit down and expect for the students to do their own work, especially elementary students. They are very little. Their attention spans are not that long. They tend to focus on other things. I highly recommend to kind of just walk around the classroom, making sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. No one's falling behind. Also, another tip that I haven't really given, I'm not too sure because I have a couple other videos, but I actually had this one time where a student was very comfortable with me and started talking to me about some of the problems she was having at home. And you're going to have students who are very comfortable with you, mostly because you're either nice or you're pretty much a stranger, and kids tend to trust strangers and kind of talk to strangers, you know, the substitute teachers, because they feel like they're not going to get in trouble with them. They're probably not going to see those subs again, so they don't think that much can happen. So I actually had one student who started telling me about how she didn't have any food at home, and she just started telling me about some of the problems she was having at home. I had to report it. So my biggest tip, if anybody tells you anything, whether they don't have food, they can't sleep at night because of whatever problem, somebody hits them, or whatever it may be, you need to make sure to report it. As soon as she told me during lunchtime, I went to the guidance counselor and I told her exactly what the student told me. She made sure to resolve the issue and figure out what was going on. So make sure you notify the guidance counselor or anybody if a student does tell you something. Okay, so another tip that I have is to not let students get away with things. And I'm talking about the older kids, like the 6th graders, 5th graders, and 4th graders. Around that time, around those grades, those kids are starting to get their attitudes. And I have learned that with those grades, you need to be very affirmative, kind of like a sergeant. Like, you need to tell them no sir and be very affirmative with them. I've learned the hard way. I had a lot of little girls giving me lots of attitude. My biggest tip for those ages or those grades is to not let whatever they say or do slide. I actually had one student who said something so ugly about one of the other teachers. I was so hurt, or I don't know about hurt, I don't know if hurt's the right word, but I was just so disappointed. I was so disappointed with what this student student said about her teacher, because I thought to myself, you know, these kids are our future, and if they're talking like this ugly about their teachers, you know, that's just not looking good for us. So highly recommend that you do not let anything that the students do or say that is ugly slide, because it kind of has like a ripple effect or a snowball effect. It eventually shapes them into the person that they're going to be in the future. So highly recommend you correct them when you can, because this age that they're in right now is where they're learning to be, you know, a better human, a better person. So highly recommend you correct them when you can. Don't be afraid to ask for referrals. They're there for a reason. Don't be afraid to send them to the office if they're being very disrespectful. I've had students who have been very disrespectful to me. I don't know if it's because I look young or what it is, but they think that they can get away with things, and no. So those are some of my tips. If you have any questions regarding anything, please feel free to ask. If you are new, make sure to subscribe. If you haven't seen my other videos, I actually have 2 other videos on tips for substitute teachers. I have a day in the life of a substitute teacher, so I take you around my day. I also have another video on how I make $1,000 with only 2 hours in the morning, and if you are a substitute teacher, I think this job is going to be perfect for you. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you are new, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video.